tech trainer role in mid-June, end of June. So just trying to make sure I've got all my I's dotted and T's crossed and making sure I'm comfortable with what I'm asking my agents to go through.
And now you know that you have to start working on your music selection.
I do. I'll have to make a note of that.
Well, so welcome. Thank you for joining us. And I look forward to working with you as well. So who's next? Yes. Michelle with an L, 1L.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
I can hear you well.
Very good. I am in Danville, Virginia. I've been a realtor since October. I'm new to the Keller Williams family, about 2 weeks in now. So I'm here just to learn what I need to get the ball rolling and use all this wealth of information available to me.
Well, welcome aboard. We're happy that you're with us here today and new to KW. So congratulations for joining us. And I'm going to pick on an old friend because she, as I'm looking at the screen, is somebody that I may have trained well over 5 years ago on an old platform called eEdge and maybe helped her build her website. I can't quite remember. Terry Welch, why don't you say hi to everybody? You're going to have to turn your microphone on, Terry. You don't know how. You can yell all you want. We can't hear you. Click on your face on your screen.
Is that better?
There we go. Terry Welch, as I live.
I tried to mute it a minute ago and it wouldn't do it. I'm helpless today because I don't have my mouse.
Oh no.
Touchpads make me crazy. So having said that, I've been with Keller Williams for 10 years. David did indeed rescue me on a number of occasions. And since I am a solo agent again, I am finally giving up and giving in and trying to learn the tech.
Awesome. And I love that you use the tech in a derogatory term. That's kind of how I heard that. I'm just saying.
No, it's wonderful, which is why I'm trying to learn it. My remark was totally to the old dog that's sitting here.
No, it's great. And thank you. And thank you for those that I called on and do understand that this is how I survive, right? If I talk for an hour, I'll lose my mind. So I do look for engagement. I look for you guys to raise your hands and chime and get comfortable with Zoom, right? If you haven't used it before, I think most of us probably have at this point. You know, mute yourself, unmute yourself. If you got a question, you can click on your screen and you can actually hold down the space bar, which will open up your mic, right? Without having to mute and unmute yourself. A little tech tip there for you. I do prefer cameras on. It makes me know because I can see if I'm connecting with you. That's the difference of me not being in a classroom style setting anymore, is that I need to see those smiling faces. So I don't care if you did your hair today. We don't judge, okay? But we're just here to have a little bit of fun. Nice. I wasn't looking at you, but I appreciate you just kind of throwing your hand up there. It's all good. Look, Marcus didn't do his hair. He just threw a hat on. You know, he's like, whatever, I got the hat today. I'm good to go.
Yeah, I'm actually on vacation. I just want to pop my head in and see if I get any nuggets from you guys.
Awesome. Hey, well, love it. Where are you on vacation at?
We are in Dubai.
Which house is this?
Dubai?
Yes, sir.
That's a little bit of a vacation for sure.
I'm actually 8 hours ahead of you guys.
Holy Hannah. All right, go play some tennis on top of that tower, on top of the hotel for me.
If I can find it.
All right, so with that, let me tell you why you're all here today.
Yeah, let me call them and make sure that that's what they want to do. I'll call you right back.
So today's day one, orientation, perfect day for you all to join us. Okay, so today we're going to walk through some things that some of you may have done before, and that's okay. And you may see some different things just from a configuration or setup standpoint that will springboard you into the next 7 trainings, right? I did say 7, Monday through Thursday, 10 to 11 a.m. over the next 2 weeks. We will walk you through everything that Command has to offer to you. Now, does that mean you're going to master the systems? I'm good. I'm not that good. Okay. But it's just trial and error and comfort for you. Like anything else, like writing a contract, you have to do it a couple of times before you really get comfortable. Right. And even then there's a skill set to that. Don't be overwhelmed that everything that Command does provide for you, because you may not use everything that it does. Like you have your cell phones, right? We all have these little devices we learn to, but we use like 1/10 of these things that they could actually be powered to do, right? Think about Command as the same thing as your cell phone. It's a platform. It's not as just a CRM. It's not just a database. It does a lot of things. And it does a lot of things that you currently utilize in your world, but you log into multiple platforms to do. So KW took the big audacious task to bring everything in-house for you at the unbelievably low cost of free, right? When you buy things off the shelf, that cost you money. And I know agents that are spending upwards of $6,000 to $10,000 a year to utilize a lot of the platforms and technology in their world. There's a challenge with that. And that's what will lead me to what I call the big why. All right. I was fortunate maybe 3-4 years ago to be in a room with Gary and Josh at the time when they were ramping out and rolling out Command. And I had to do a thing called a Command Roadshow where I would go around and talk about what Command's going to do for our associates when we have it in our hands. And it wasn't just that Gary's announcement we're a technology company. What did that mean for us? Like, that kind of weirded some people out, but it was understanding why. Why do we say that? Why are we doing what we're doing? Why are we not just going out and unboxing something and bringing it in-house? Why are we going through the task of creating something that exists in one version or another somewhere out there? That's a really great question, and I'm glad you asked. Okay. We're under attack. And when I say we, I don't just mean KW, I mean you, the associate. You guys realize you guys are under attack? You guys are under attack by money, venture capitalists, right? They want to disrupt our industry, right? They want to take the agents out of the business. They think that this can just be something where you can purchase online like a pair of shoes. Been in the business 14 years. I'm not just your tech trainer. I'm a licensed realtor. I was licensed in Arizona. I'm licensed in Northern Virginia. I've been around the block a little while. I understand and appreciate that us, the business owners, the associates, are at the center of the transaction, and it's a relationship business. And you can never take that away from us unless we allow people to take it away from us. Okay. Those other third-party platforms, and we've been victimized in the past. We used a platform called eEdge. Our partner was a company called Market Leader. They were purchased later on by a third company called Zillow. You might have heard of them. They're never going to be a broker. Right? They've said that many times. Right, Terry? Zillow's not going to be a broker, are they? And those of you that are new understand the nuance and the sarcasm in my voice, because Terry, what is Zillow now?
Broker.
Broker. Look at that. Who knew that was going to happen?
And they're joining forces with all of the cash offer only. And
right.
have a way to do a cash offer, we're going to be a dying breed.
And we have to keep up the fight. So that was step one. Step two was we were partnering with a company called Dotloop, which I really liked Dotloop. Okay, loved it. Guess what? Guess who now owns Dotloop?
Zillow.
Okay, so are we under attack?
Yes.
Okay, so KW invested an incredible amount of money. Now look, Gary's a guy who's mid to late 60s at this point, could be sitting on the beach drinking pina coladas with Jimmy Buffett, right? He doesn't need to spend his money on this. This guy, and this is what I left that meeting understanding, more than anything else, this is what I left understanding. He cares more about our agents and our agents' businesses more than the agents, don't take this personally, more than the majority of the agents themselves. We're all looking for the easy button. We all want less disruption in our world. And we don't care what that means. Like, so we pay companies like Zillow to feed us our own leads because we think it's worth it. Not seeing the long-term picture of what that was going to do to our industry or do to our businesses or try to put us out of business. They want nothing more than to be able to just hire you to go do a showing assistant. That's what they want. That's the fight. I'm very passionate about this. I believe in what we're doing, and I believe that we're at the center of the transaction and we have to fight that. That starts with your data, artificial intelligence, big data. Who owns your data? You do, unless you give somebody else the right to do that. Do you guys read those small disclaimers every time you download an app on your phone and they ask to have access to your pictures, your location, your contacts, your data? And we've gotten used to just going, yeah, go ahead. I want the cat ears, so go ahead, take all my information, right? That's what happens. Now, imagine that in the hands of other companies that want our data to put us out of business in real estate, because that's what's happening. So while sometimes Command doesn't do everything that we want it to do now, it's doing things for the right reasons, and that's to protect you. So I'm going to ask you now for a little bit of forgiveness if you experience a bumpy ride at some point in time, because we're working on a live event where we're consistently working on our platform. Think of it as 24/7 development technology, follow the sun technology. We have developers and coders working nonstop 24 hours a day at different times, different time zones around the world, working on this platform for you, for us. So that's where we're going. That's the big why. Having our platform that will never be sold to anybody else, that will never give anybody access to your data, is important and worth the money and the fight. You guys believe me?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's where we are. With that being said, let's kind of start jumping into this, okay? So we're going to take a walk through command setup today. I am recording, just so you know. I post all these recordings back to the regional YouTube channel. I'll give you guys a link to that at the end of the day, but you'll always be able to go to watch this session or previous sessions. We have different instructors from the Market Center, tech trainers that come in and do things, so you hear things a little bit differently. So don't think that just attending one classes on contacts or command or stuff is going to give you everything you need. I think hearing it over and over again, you'll hear different insights from different people. When Cassandra gets to the point where she's leading these calls, her nuance and her specialties and her things that are highlight are going to be a little bit different than what I point out to you. So you're always welcome to come back. Okay. So your Market Center Tech Trainer is an incredible resource for you in your Market Center. So on the screen now you see a list of who they are. Your Market Center number, and your Market Center Tech Trainer. So I'm the regional technology trainer. I oversee the Market Center Tech Trainer program for all of Virginia, West Virginia. As I mentioned earlier, I am also a licensed realtor. So when I'm coming to you, I'm not just saying, here's how you use this leverage that we put in your world. I'm talking to you because we also have this thing called the Red Book. Maybe you guys have heard of this, right? We utilize the Red Book, leads, systems, leads, listings, leverage, right? All the tools in our world are reflected in command, right? So I will talk a lot about how to apply those levers to run your business. And so will your Market Center Tech Trainer and your team leaders and your PC coaches and anybody else that you come across in your daily lives. So please take note, if you don't know who they are, who it is that represents you in your Market Center, because that's your follow-up. That's where you get support. That's where you get help. That's where you have one-on-ones. They're going to guide you through the higher level or the more detail specific stuff after we cover the high level stuff over the next 2 weeks. Sound good? Did everybody know who their Market Center Tech Trainer was? If you didn't, that's okay, because we're working on our communication skills.
Rachel sees me coming and runs.
Rachel's awesome. And don't be afraid. Like Terry, I said this before, like people, I get on these calls and people are like, oh, I'm the worst. Technology this, I'm terrible at it. I want you to actually take that word technology and throw it out the window. Because I don't think of command as tech. Think of command as leverage. You need leverage in your world. And how you pull those levers and how you apply that leverage is what gives you leverage on a regular basis. So don't be afraid of it. It's not hard. It just does a lot. Okay. So always know where you can go to get help and who's there to support you. They want to answer those questions for you. Speaking of questions, I see somebody posted something in chat. So let's Mike's Idle. Yeah, Mike's another great guy out of Dallas. We've got a great, talented crew around the region for sure. And for those of you that are in Falls Church, you're lucky enough that I am actually the Market. I don't know if anybody's on Falls Church today. I'm the Market Center Tech Trainer for Falls Church, so they get me. All right, so let's go. Moving on. We're going to go over a couple of bulleted benchmarked domains that I'm going to want you guys to bookmark over time through your setups. And those are, our email platform is a Gmail platform, in case you didn't know. Kwconnect essentially is KW's version of YouTube. That's a lot of our training is recorded and hosted there. Agent.kw.com is your login to command. And answers.kw.com. If you don't write anything else down, please bookmark this. Answers.kw.com essentially is Google for all things KW technologically speaking, right? One thing that you will learn, and I will ask of you, is become an advocate for yourself. Advocate for your own personalized training. Go home at the end of the day, pop the cork on the bottle of wine, pour a nice tall one because you wrote 8 offers today and you're praying one gets accepted. And then you come back and you train yourself more on the platforms and the tools that you have in your back end. It's not a one day, it's a long thing, it's a journey, okay? But answers.kw.com is an incredible resource for you guys, and I want you to know where it is. All right, so write those all down. Part of self-advocacy is support. I mentioned earlier that sometimes command doesn't do what we want it to do. Now that could be a very loaded question. Not doing what you want it to do may be that it's having an issue today. It's having a case of the Mondays, right? In this world, it's really a case of the Tuesdays because that's when we load a lot of things and you may see some things happening. And when we roll out new things, sometimes it affects old things. So maybe there's some things going on in the back end. We communicate these to you through your Market Center tech trainers. Okay, they're up to date on what's going on. There are three things when it comes to support. One is it training related. Regardless of attending training, are you not understanding how to do something? Your Market Center tech trainer can tell you how to do that. Two, is it a feature request? Are you looking for command to do something it doesn't do? That's quite possible, right? It's still in development. And three, is it actually not functioning as intended? And when you do that, we're going to ask you to send in a support ticket, and your Market Center tech trainer is going to help you with that. And that can be done through answers.kw.com. And it's really important that I ask you, and you do proactively put in support tickets, okay? Because that tells KWRI how global an issue might be, and they'll keep you up to date, up to speed as they're making improvements. My father always said, don't ever assume, because it makes an ass out of you and me. So don't assume that your experience is the same as somebody else's, and then your issues is the same as somebody else's, and it's going to get taken care of. Because your experience might be different than somebody else's based on the platform or the programs that you're running at the same time. So don't assume, and document and coordinate those. One thing I don't have on here that I will recommend that you get used to using in your world is a freeware called Loom, LOOM.com, loom.com. If you've seen any of my quick hit tech training tips or any of the Market Center tech, all it is screen capture. When you're having an issue, screenshots are very hard to identify an issue with. Your emails are hard because you're frustrated and you don't know necessarily always how to express yourself in an email, and I can't visualize what's wrong, and neither can KW. If you use loom.com and show us what's going on in the background that you're having a challenge with, it's a lot easier for us to determine the next course of action. And that all starts with your Market Center tech trainer. And if you were to end up having to send in a support ticket, they can see what you're experiencing. There's a lot of things that can be resolved by visually seeing the steps and the things that you're clicking. So just wanted to point that out. So Scotland Remarketing is a third-party platform that all of our market centers use typically to help set you guys up. And it's a great resource for training that you all have access to. When you log into Scotland Remarketing, you see it here on the screen, and it's going to ask you to log in. Your Market Center number is your login. It's unique to everybody, okay? We have a YouTube channel that I'm going to show that I will put available up at the end. But if you search YouTube for KW VAWV Region 12, you'll find our page on YouTube. And if you subscribe to that, every time we load something new, you'll get an updated notification that we have new trainings released. Our Facebook group, if you search for kw.va.wva.tech on Facebook, please join our page, okay? Because we provide trainings that are live in this type of an event and recordings. We do daily tech tips, 3 to 5 minute videos of something you may not know about Command. We answer questions. I'll answer them. The other Market Center tech trainers will answer them. Other agents will help answer them. It's a great resource for you to get in the know, in the now. So follow that page. All right, so I mentioned support. So if you're having an issue and it falls in one of those 3 buckets, your Market Center tech trainer is going to tell you what's next. They're either going to train you on the issue, they're going to tell you that's a feature request, which is awesome about feature requests is this. KW says that our platform, built by agents, built for agents. Sorry, I got that backwards. Built for agents, built by agents. And what they're saying is that we're listening to you. They've listened to the top teams when we rolled this out, and they're always listening to you. So if you actually go to a website called ideas.kw.com, ideas.kw.com, you can actually make a recommendation for an improvement or enhancement into the platform. Or you can search for those and maybe it already exists and you can vote it up and you can get others to vote up your ideas too. And why this is important, because I can be honest with you and tell you that Gary, Jason, Chris, okay, they all, and Mark, Monday mornings, we'll actually go to ideas.kw.com, see what the agents are requesting, and see how quickly, or if necessary, we can roll that into command. They take that very seriously. So provide that input. Who knows? Someday you may have suggested something, and I've done this, which is pretty cool. You make a suggestion, and then somewhere down the line, you see it live in action, and that's a pretty great feeling. All right, so I'm going to bring up on my screen an old platform called mykw.kw.com. So this was our old technology. This is 10 years ago that we're migrating from to command. But there's still some things that you'll have access to that knowing where this is or how to do certain things will be of value to you, especially when you're first joining us, okay? So I'm just going to switch to my market center because I have a couple of them. All right, so first thing you're going to see on the left-hand side of the screen is your picture, if you've loaded it, and a profile. It's important to update your profile with as much information as you can, okay? Your Market Center Tech Trainer MSA will have to put in your NERDS number, okay, to authenticate a couple of pieces, so they need to do that, you can't. But you can load your picture here. Then just fill in the rest of these blocks the best as you can. One of the most important blocks that I'll tell you that's on here is your bio. And we're going to talk about bios a couple of times over the next couple of days, because there are two types of bios that you need in your world. There's an agent-to-agent facing bio, and there's an agent-to-consumer facing bios. So start sharpening your pencils now and start planning out what that story looks like. And if you are new to the business, and I know there was a couple of you said you were new, there's a paralyzing fear about saying anything because you don't have a transactional history. That's okay. It's connection-based. You're in the relationship business, right? That people don't always just hire you because you did 1,000 units like Terry Welch, right? It doesn't work like that, okay? They're looking for a reason to work with you. And that might be your hometown, where you came from, where you went to college, or what your hobbies are, or what involvement you're into PTA or hockey or Little League or whatever. Not necessarily that you did 10 units last month. Here's a great equalizer in real estate. Every mega associate in the business, in your office, in the world, started with the same number of units you're starting with. You know how many that is? Come on, Amore, you look like you wanted to say it. 0. 0 transactions.
0.
Right? There you go.
I couldn't find the unmute button.
0 transactions, and then grew from there. So don't let the fear of lack of production inhibit you in your performance, okay? Tell your story in that bio, okay? And over time, that bio should constantly be rewritten to talk about your successes in real estate as those come, because they will, okay? Now, the agent-to-agent bio is different because, believe it or not, most people don't understand this, KW is the largest referral company in the world. We have 175 to 190,000 agents. That number varies. I'm not even sure where we are now, worldwide. You can make referrals around the world, and they can refer them to you. So having an online profile inside of our system that reflects who you are, believe it or not, puts you in a top, very small percentage, because not everybody's done that. Now, in the agent-to-agent profile, you might talk about things like, hey, I went to Ignite, or I went to Bold, or I went to Family Reunion, I went to Mega Camp, or I'm on the ALC, or I'm the Market Center Tech Trainer, or I'm the Cultural Ambassador, right? Or I'm on the Tech Committee. Those things in the KW world mean a lot. The general public has no idea when you're talking about those things, right? Doesn't matter to them. They're not going to understand some of those things. In KW's world, agent to agently speaking, they do. So that's why I say there's two different conversations at play with that type of a bio. So give some thought to that when you're building that out. Save everything that's going on this page. At the bottom, the other most important thing is your recovery password. If you ever lock yourself out, understanding that where your reset goes to and what email that goes to is important. So that's your access. Back on the home page, your market centers, while Command still is in development, they probably still utilize the market center calendar, okay? So at the bottom, you see these quick links. I'm going to jump into the intranet for Falls Church. And we publish trainings that are going on. And you can take those trainings and sync them with your Google Calendar. So I recommend that you do so. Right, so you're going to see a calendar here with dates, and these are things that are going inside your market center. If you click your picture on the upper right-hand side, another profile, right? You're going to have a couple you're going to profile overload in the beginning. I get it. It's okay. Edit preferences. How do you want to be notified on certain events? You can go through and walk and check all these different boxes. But at the very bottom is a calendar subscription sync. If you're Apple based, I don't judge, but if you use Apple, I forgive you. You can sync with Apple. If you're a PC person, welcome to the professional business world. Then you can sync with your Google Calendar, okay, or any other platforms that go for. And that's a nice way to keep up to date on everything that's working for you on the back end. And so I'm going to come back out to my home page again. All right, just click return to KW. Underneath technology, you're going to see a couple of things that I want you to take notice of. First, very simple. Oh, too quick. Back. Hover over tech. Don't click tech. Okay. There's a change password. So if you're new, you should update your password. Okay, because you're going to have some jarbled, very long character string that you're never going to remember. So you probably should update and change your password. 8 characters, capital, and 1 number or letter, and change that here. So that's resetting your KW. Now that gets you access to my KW. That gets you access to Command. That gets you access to a platform called Connect, and also gets you access to your mobile app called Kelly. Same password for all 4 devices with this one KW password. All right. Also under technology is KW email. Now, most of you probably have this already set up for you, but our KW email is actually a Gmail system. I'm going to take a minute and talk about emails. Now, I want honesty here, and I'm going to stop sharing for a second because I want to see all your faces. You guys ready? Marsha, Charlene, Sade, turn those cameras on because I want to see faces here. Who's got an email, okay, where the email domain, which is the at portion of that email, is one of the following: david@gmail.com, david@livewire.com, david@yahoo.com. Raise your hands. Who has those? Who uses them in their real estate profession? Well, first, let me thank you for being honest. And 2, let me thank you for being a professional business person and starting your journey of building your business. And now I want you to take that email address and throw it in the trash. Okay? I'm being a little bit funny-ish. As a business owner, you're marketing yourself at all times. And when you market yourself with a free mail, okay, at Gmail, at Livewire, at Yahoo, God forbid anybody, Terry might still be using AOL, I don't know. Those things, you're here. I pick on those I love and trust. I'm sorry. Those don't tell the right story about your profession. Okay, so there are 3 levels of email, and one is that free mail. So think about that and stop using it going forward, because you can forward and redirect and get away from it. Okay, your marketing tech trainers, and I can help you with that. The second email you have at your disposal is actually your @kw.com, which also is Gmail, but it's branded to KW, so it makes you sound like and lets the world know you're a realtor with KW, the largest real estate company in the world. That's powerful. Plus, remember that domain, kw.com, takes them to a website where they can search for properties. Okay. The third email you can have is, it depends if you can have it or not. Okay. So I'm going to preface this, and remember, I'm recording. I'm always clear here because I'm going to tell you some things that you're going to need to verify with your brokerage, but it's this. You have the ability to brand yourself as an organization. Did you know that? That's part of the great things about being with KW, right? I can be Donaldson Home Group. I can be that, right? Terry, where were you guys? My House Hunter, right? Wasn't that you?
That was us for a while, 2 house hunters. Solo agent now, so it's just Terry Welch.
All right, it's just Terry Welch. You can be a business. However, to be a business, you have to officially be a business. What does that mean? It means you have to be an LLC. That LLC has to be filed with Richmond and approved by your market center. And under the codes of laws provided you by NAR, because there's certain words that you can't use, that makes you stand like a standalone market center or business center or brokerage. So you have to be very careful about how you choose those things. And I said, I'm not a broker, so I'm not going to get into the details of what you can and can't do. But do this. If you're going to go down that avenue, okay, do it the right way, because not everybody does. Because I have seen agents get fined up to $1,000 for marketing themselves wrong. And I don't want that to happen to you. Okay, so if you decided you want to be Donaldson Home Group, you can. If it's an LLC, if there's one or more other people on your team, you're actually a business, not just a solo agent. Okay, your office approves it, you file the paperwork, it's added to your license, and now you can brand and market yourself that way. When you've done that, you can then go create a Google Business Suite account, buy the domain name for your business, and turn that into an email. Okay, so I could be David at DonaldsonHomeGroup.com. With DonaldsonHomeGroup.com going to, I'm making it up. That doesn't exist. So don't go searching for it. It's not there. Any questions around it? Does that make sense? And for those of you, I was joking. I'm not trying to insult anybody on those free mails, but a lot of people actually don't even think about it.
Yeah.
And as a business owner, you do need to think about it. So a lot of my conversations is stoking those flames for you to understand that there's a way to promote yourself and run your business. Okay. I will always reference utilizing the broker in your market center for clarity. Right? They will always be the de facto person for you to get any legal ramifications around that type of thing. But that's important. All right. Any concerns around that? We good?
No, it's helpful for me, David, just because I have stepped away from a team that I was on, and now I'm independent. So now I'm going through this process with Richmond, filing with Richmond and all that. So.
Okay, great. And so as an individual agent, basically you have two options, right? You can brand yourself as your name or your name realtor. That's the only real option. And you cannot be a business entity unless at a minimum you have an admin on your team. It has to be you plus one. That's my understanding. Get clarification from your brokerage. But you can't just wake up tomorrow and be like, "Yep, I'm Donaldson Home Group and it's all me." There's some realness around that they'll provide you additional information on as you're going through that process. All right, so let's jump back into Command now. But I take a couple minutes to talk about that because I do think that is important. Make sure I'm still sharing my screen again. Turn that back on. All right. All right, so we covered mykw.kw.com and setting that up. That's an important thing. Now we're going to talk about Connect. kwconnect.com. So I mentioned at the top of the hour, kwconnect.com, which is also accessible with your KW login and password, okay, is essentially our own in-house YouTube channel, plus much, much more. Okay. I'm going to show you a couple of important links inside of Connect that I think are important for you to know, but there's a lot here. So you could get lost in there. So be careful how much time you spend in these platforms, because your first and foremost is what? Lead generation, right? Education is great, but lead generation or you go out of business, right? We're all hard to saying starving artists. Well, I don't want you guys to be starving realtors, okay? Lead generation is most important in your world. All right, kwconnect.com. Under resources, okay, the very first thing you see is a Connect Live calendar. So what you're doing right now is what I call Command Daily Live for the region. They also do something very similar for KW. And what I recommend that you all do is Friday, Saturday, Sunday before the coming week is go out on their Connect website, Connect Live calendar, and see what's coming up. Now, there's a lot of trainings in there. They're not just technology classes. They're business classes, okay? And you can see every day, like today, there's term buyer rejections and opportunities. These are all Central Time. We're an hour ahead. So when you see 12 o'clock, that's 1 o'clock Eastern. So always adjust from Central to Eastern Time. Gain client trust through strong listing presentations, right? Listing presentations is a component to that command, so it'll be both, right? Referrals and walkthroughs, that's tomorrow. I was supposed to teach that class, but I couldn't. So sometimes you'll see familiar faces on those command KWRI provided classes. Anyway, it's always good to kind of plan your week, time block for yourself. Look, it's hard in our world as realtors because we're in a reactionary mode a lot of the time, but you control your calendar, and it is okay to set expectations with your consumers about when you're free and what you're not. If you always allow yourself to be yo-yoed around by them, that can get problematic for you. So it's okay to say no sometimes, but I'm available at XYZ. You pick and choose what that works for you. If you happen to miss a class, don't worry, we have your back. there's Command on Connect Live on Demand. So all these classes are recorded that you can go back and watch. They're usually posted here inside of Command within about 72 hours. So live is always best. We all learn better in a live environment, but you can always go back and rewatch. So that's Connect Daily Live training calendar, and they're usually posted like a full week out. All right. Also on the resources, there's a Welcome New Associates tab. I think you should check this out. Now, over the next 2 weeks, we're going to do a lot what's listed here, but there's really great embedded trainings and links and fact pages that KW is providing for you. And you can go back and say, hey, maybe David missed something here that I need to know about that are specific to you that, again, that they highlight a little bit differently. Take a look at Welcome New Associates. Okay. Great information in here. Scroll down. We'll touch more on marketing later, but there's a great marketing piece in here where you can go out and download a document that talks about how to utilize the KW provided branding and marketing materials in your business. Because while you have the ability to brand yourself, there's local and national ramifications about utilizing your local brand with the KW brand and your market center brand. And it's up to you to be up to snuff and make sure you're doing it all well. I'll tell you at the top, you cannot just use KW in your branding, right? You can't just type, you can't even, I had an agent in my market center whose initials were KW, and she could not have a website that referenced the initials KW because you signed as way belonging by KW. So there are certain things you can and can't do. So that marketing piece is important for you to understand. All right. So on the resources, that's about as far as I. All right. Under technology, there's Command Your Business. I really like the Command Your Business page because it takes this class. Okay. Now my class is always changing based off of new releases. So some of this information has been provided and it's static, but underneath these, it breaks down kind of like we do applet by applet. And it gets even more micro where there are like, you see, build your database. There's a lot of less than 10-minute videos of how to do very small, specific things. Anybody heard of Marty Miller's 66-day challenge?
Mhm.
Marty has the same role that I have. He's more of a known entity. I let him have it. You know, I don't need to fight for, I know who I am. I'm comfortable in my own skin. But Marty does an incredible job with the 66-day challenge. This is similar to that. This is KW's version of that. Marty's just kind of a little bit more up to speed. You can follow that on YouTube. He's like on like day 10 right now, the new one. But we recognize that you all learn differently, right? Some learn great by watching videos in a classroom style setting like this. Some learn better by reading fact pages. We have those. Some learn better by chunking it down really, really small, hitting stop, pause, and implementing. You can do that too. We recognize everybody learns differently. So we don't force you into any one version, right? We do our best to be all things for everybody, which is challenging, but I want you to know that these tools are there for you. All right. I'm going to skip a couple other things that we'll cover later. All the way on the right, you're going to see another profile. Like I said, there's profile overload. This is an agent-to-agent profile. It will publish to command and goes back and forth. We'll delve into that a little bit more here in a minute, but you do want to make sure that your agent-to-agent profile is up to date. And I'll show you a little bit more information inside of command in the middle, but that's what this profile is here. That's your agent-to-agent facing profile. All right. Close that. All right, so now we're going to take a jump. Before we jump into command settings, any questions on mykw.kw.com, any questions on the email, or any questions on Connect Live and what those elements are for you as it stands right now? Go ahead and open your mic if you got a question. Somebody making bacon? You better share. All right, no questions. All right, I'm just that skilled. Understood. Thank you for that. So now we're going to jump into command. Bring up my command dashboard. So remember what I told you in the beginning, the command login page is agent.kw.com. That's where you'll log into command. It'll ask you for your KW user ID and password, just like all the other platforms. And let me just log out. If by chance you forgot what that was, you can always hit forget password. And that will send you an email at that recovery password email and allow you to do a reset. right, so when you first log into Command, you're gonna land on the dashboard, okay? On the right-hand side of Command, you have what we call our applets. Remember at the top, I told you Command is a platform. It's not just a CRM tool. It has a CRM. It's a platform like your phone. So these applets, like the apps on your phone, okay? So as your home page, we'll walk through this here in a quick second, but this is where you're first gonna log in. Then you have contacts. Contacts is your CRM. It is your database. And without a fully integrated and functioning contacts, what do you really have? So that's where you're gonna spend the most time configuring and working, because Command spiders into all the additional applets you have at your disposal to allow you to run your business at a high level. Contacts is the most important thing you have at you. And I will talk to that over and over again. Tasks, right? Well, what do you need to do today? Well, like here on my homepage, it tells me, who do I need to call today? Who do I need to send an email today? Who do I need to send a text to today? Those are tasks. They're your to-dos. And they could be contact-driven tasks, or they could be contract or what we call opportunity-driven tasks, right? Do I need to reach out to my lender? Do I need to reach out to the other agent? Those are things that kind of come into play a little bit later. They're different, right? And we have smart plans. Smart plans are action plans. They are, for those of you that have been around a while, we call them drip campaigns, right? We call them smart plans. They're automatic events that either you set it and forget it, or you built out to set it and forget it, to consistently and regularly reach out to your database, right? Do you say happy birthday to people? What does that look like? Do you send them a card? Did you make a phone call? Did you do a Facebook post? Did you text them? Multiple steps, right? Are you sending them listings about the neighborhoods where they live? We call them monthly neighborhood nurtures, right? Just gives them ideas of what's going on around them, right? Do you do client events? Do you do movie nights, right? What does that look like? Do you create the event? You send out an email, you send out a text, you thank them for coming, right? You do all these different things in your world. Post-closing, what do you do? So there's a lot of things, emails, texts, phone calls, right? All their smart plans get triggered. That's the leverage that's keeping your brand awareness. Some of you might have heard of 36 touches, right? It keeps your name out in front of the consumer base on a regular basis, because I'm going to pause here. I'm going to tell you, sometime in your world, somebody close to you is going to do a transaction without you. That's real. That's going to happen to you. Okay? Don't take it personal. Don't get upset with cousin Joe because he didn't call you to sell his property. What you need to do is understand why. Did you not communicate regularly? Did you take him for granted? Did you assume? We covered assuming, right? What does your communication look like? And even if you do it all right, they still might not use you, and that's okay. I've dealt with agents that get incredibly upset. Don't let it affect you that way, right? You should have plenty of business if you do things the right way, but this is going to happen to you. So what I will ask is that when it does happen, that you look at it as you reflect on that and look at why and how did that happen, right? Did you go through the listing appointment like you would anybody else? Or did you just kind of go there expecting them to come list me, right? You got it. I will tell you, actually, friends and family, you actually have to treat it at an additional higher level than just every other consumer, because I find it hard, right? They don't take you seriously. They don't think of you as a business owner a lot of times. They think this is just some, hey, oh, Dave got his license. Yeah, it's nice for Dave. He's just making some that's his side hustle. Real estate is not a side hustle, okay? And it's your job to remind people that is not your side hustle. It is your profession. So think about that, okay? Smart plans, action steps, referrals. I mentioned earlier that KW is the largest referral company in the world. Well, inside of referrals, I can send referrals all around the world, okay? My last 3 commissions were referral checks. I sent a client to Naples, Florida. I sent a client to Huntsville, Alabama. And believe me, I did something locally because I didn't feel like going to Gainesville, right? So I sent some referrals out to Gainesville. You can refer within the platform and send contacts to somebody else. So tracking that's important. So that's referrals. We'll cover that. It'll be on the last day.
David,
Yes.
when you send a referral out through the system, Oh, does the other agent get notified?
You'll find out next Thursday.
Okay.
See, I can't give everything away today. You got to keep coming back. On the back end, you're going to still receive an email notification, right? And they'll be forced to create a opportunity that you'll have insight on the back end too. I'm not going to dive into commissions because it's like anything else, but you negotiate commissions with a referral. They vary anywhere. I've seen 10% all the way up to 50%. You set that expectation. It's like the open market, right? There's no such thing as flat 6% commission. That's not the world we live in, right? So referrals, you get to say, hey, I'm going to send a referral to Terry, and Terry, I'm looking for 25%, or Terry, this is a come list me, I'm looking for 40%. That's between you and the other agent, and you guys negotiate that on the back end. Hope that helps, Terrence. But we can cover it a little bit back there, but I shy away from setting expectations because there's some fluctuation in that. Campaigns is where I'm next. Campaigns is, who's got a whiteboard in their office? Terry, you still have a whiteboard? Cassandra, you have a whiteboard?
I do.
I do. I don't get to keep anything up there for very long
Which
because,
is a good thing, right?
yeah.
But here's the problem with the whiteboard, and I'm going to look to the ladies in the room a little bit more because you all like to wear light and pink and yellows. And when you erase on a whiteboard, do you ever get stuff down your sleeve? Black, brown, red, right? Or on the palm. I have a tendency to get on the palm of my hand, right? So that's messy. And you got to update it all the time, especially in this market like Terry was talking about. So opportunities are oh, you know what? I jumped. Opportunities, not campaigns. Sorry, I'm talking about opportunities. Opportunities is your digital whiteboard. Okay. You can filter by listings, buyers, referrals, campaign types. Are they under contract? Are they active? Are they in development? Are they closed? If I have a team, I can look at all the people on my team. Otherwise, I have to have multiple whiteboards in my office, right? You could do all of that through opportunities. So I call opportunities your digital whiteboard, your pipeline of activity, what's happening in the back end. We're going to cover that this week. Campaigns, is your advertising. We've talked a lot about Facebook advertising, but you can do pay-per-click advertising through our platform. You can do scheduled posts through our platform, which are free. You can post to Facebook. You can post to Instagram. You can post to do pay-per-click advertising on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and Google. All those things can happen inside of our command relationships with those different companies. Okay. And just so you know, when we talk about pay-per-click is what's really, really expensive for a lot of associates. KW has an integration portal with those companies. KW takes no percentage of any pay-per-click. So that drives your cost lower. That's why it's important to run it through command versus running it directly or third-party companies because they charge you a crap load of money for pay-per-click. So you'll hear like $5 might be an industry standard where KW's pay-per-click might be $1 or less. It varies, but it's a lot less. We'll delve into campaigns. Reports, that's tracking on the back end. What are your, how many emails did I send? Where am I at against my monthly goals? Where am I against my annual goals? Did I set my annual goals? How many emails have I sent? How many text messages have I sent? What's my production look like? That's reporting. Designs. Has anybody used Canva? Anybody heard of Canva? So Canva is.
Yes, I heard of it.
Okay, so it's a design element where you can go out and create social media graphics and listing and flyer presentations. Designs is our version of Canva. And what I love about it is that there are 1,500 different templates available to you for print, for social, right, for email, and they're fully customizable, okay? And we're plugged into the MLS. So where Canva or other platforms, you have to load all your pictures through command, all the listings that are active, you have access to all those photos already. So you don't have to load anything, which makes your life so easy. Covered listings. And then consumer, that's where your mobile app, your consumer app, and your website, which we'll cover on Monday, all live under there because we want to create what's called the Netflix experience. So that doesn't matter if they're working from a desktop web application or they're looking for properties on their phone, it all funnels back to the same thing for you so you can see what they're doing. So that's consumer. All right, we got about 10 minutes left. Those are all the applets that are available to you. First thing I showed you here is our homepage, okay? On the upper right, you're gonna see guided tour and customized home. Guided tour is great because as you go through the applets the first couple of times, this guided tour is there for you, and it'll talk you through what you're looking at. It's spinning on me. It's my network on a Monday morning. But if you click on that, Gary will pop up and talk you through certain elements on your PC of telling you what to do on these particular devices, which is great. If you go to the customize button, I'm just going to refresh real quick. I click customize home. Your display, your home page dashboard, okay, is going to be different than how mine looks. When you click on this, on the left-hand side, you're going to see the different, what we call widgets. You'll get used to that you can add to your home screen. Tasks, product updates, goals, designs, and you could turn these on or off, okay? And when I change things, you'll see that my right-hand side, okay, is also changing. So I turn them on or off on the left. And then when you see these 6 meatballs, okay, you can drag the order of those. And now when I do that and I click apply, you'll see that my dashboard changed. So you get to create your experience. So the other question is, well, what do these things all mean? It's a good question. So if I go back to home, tasks are, what do I have to do today? And we covered that, right? Product updates. KW will update you once a week of the changes that they did on the back end of command. Fixes, changes, improvements, anything that they've changed, they disclose to you and let you know. Plus, there's also a what's next option where you can say, hey, where are we going? What's going to happen next quarter, second quarter, third quarter, as they build back-end pieces of command. That's available to you to see underneath product updates. Goals versus actual. Where are you? Did you set your goals? And are you achieving your goals? Important for you to know. Talk to your PC coach and your team leader and make sure that those are built out in your platform. Designs. What new designs does KW roll out? Designs is awesome because our marketing department is always putting out new pieces, right? Every month we've got something new going on. This month was Pacific Islanders month, okay? And there was pieces revolving around that. There were pieces around tax day. There were pieces around red day. So anytime there's a holiday or some sort of special event, there's design elements that allow you to push things out with your branding on it. So it's always good to stay up to speed and see what's going on. Believe it or not, like Flag Day, there'll be a Flag Day notification, right? That's June 14th, in case you're wondering. All right, database health score comparison. We're gonna talk more about that tomorrow on contacts, but like how healthy is your database? Do I have emails, names, home addresses, phone numbers? Do I know where people work? Do I have their social media profiles? Do I have their birthdays? Do I know what their home anniversary is? What's the health score of your database? Right? The more you know about somebody, the more of a relationship you have with them. They develop from a lead to a contact because you know things. Notepad, do you take notes on your screen? I use Google Notes, so I don't use this one, but that's what that is. And then leads. Who's new? Where did they come from? Did they come in through a website? Did they come in through my mobile app? Did they come in through an ad that I ran? They're stamped leads. We'll talk about that more in campaigns. But that's your home screen here, okay? Go in and play around with that and see what they look like. All right, at the top, over the next 4 minutes, we'll go over settings, okay? These are things that I want you guys to take care of today before we jump into tomorrow's class, okay? So underneath settings, you're gonna have your picture here. This first profile is a little misleading, so I'm gonna give you some clarification. Profile, this is the same profile that's on your Connect profile. This profile is your agent-to-agent profile. This is not your consumer profile. Okay, it's in a different place. We're going to see right now. So this profile, we're going to click on it, is the information that only KW agents see. Okay, you can edit and update all that information in here, but that does not showcase you out to the rest of the world. Okay, that is under settings. Okay, so take note of this because this is one of the things you're going to work on today. Settings on the left-hand side, command settings. I'm sorry, not command settings. Connect settings. So settings, connect settings, marketing profile. Now I have asked for it to be surfaced a little bit better so it's easier to get to, but right now this is where this lives. Marketing profile. This is you and the information that you will need to go out through other pieces, okay, for marketing, website, consumer, apps, email, smart plans, designs. This will push to all those other things, but you got to start here, okay? Headshot. And some of these things are marked required. So yes, you're probably going to have to get a picture taken. Just letting you know. Okay. I don't put pictures on my business cards, just so you know. I don't do that. But I do have a likeness online because I think people do need to know what I look like. If I were to ever to meet them, that's security, right? But I don't put it on my business card. That's just not me. Anyways, if you're on a team, you got your team logo, your contact information, your bio. Remember, this is your consumer-facing bio now, right? Why should they work with you? Where did you come from? What are you all about? How are they going to connect with you? So it's your agent bio. Contact, email, phone number, markage, brokerage. Okay, so if you go into that marketing piece that I showed you earlier, right inside of Connect, you can download your library of Market Center branded material, or you can talk to your Market Center tech trainer, your team leader. They can show you how to download all those things so you have that. Your Market Center branding, Market Center contact information, save at the bottom. Now I'm going to tell you all this. If you need to ask me what Facebook pixels are or Google Analytics are, then that conversation is not for you right now. So don't worry about it. Doesn't do a whole lot on the back end. But if you know what these are, you'll add your information. We'll cover that a little bit future, but don't trip up over it. Then you'll hit save. So, and then after you update your marketing profile, there's a toggle here. After this is done, turn this toggle on, because what this does is that we build out other elements. It takes your marketing information and updates all these other widgets later on. It makes your life easier. It'll pull your photo. It'll pull your contact information. It'll pull that stuff into smart plans and website design, so we don't have to constantly keep adding it. So you're going to want to turn this toggle to green and turn that on. All right. Last thing under settings, we'll cover in a little bit more detail for each class. You'll see this drop down. These are the different applets or other companies that we plug in on the back end that are integrated with KW. Each day we'll address these things. So you'll need your Facebook login credentials. Most of us have set it and forget it and don't know what those are. So you're going to need to know how to log into Facebook to make that work later. So have access to that, right? You're going to need to make sure that DocuSign is connected if your Market Center does that. We don't do DocuSign training here. It's handled at the local level, but you're going to want that connected if you utilize that. You're going to log in with your Gmail account, whether that's KW or otherwise. Sync those together because the system will track the emails that you send out to your consumers. PieSync is a higher level communication. We'll talk in more detail about that tomorrow for contacts. Facebook, Twitter, covered those. We'll talk about command email and Twilio and some of the other platforms. But that's what you're looking at on this screen. And the last thing is the question mark. If you click on the question mark, right? Guided tours, I talked about those, right? These are quick tours about different applets, dashboard, social media, right? There's also KW University, which I could search by topic, okay? So you can search by certain things. It's looking inside of answers.kw.com is what that is doing at this point, okay? I could chat with support directly. Here's the problem with support, okay? I can type in a question, and it'll first ask me to search through the database. We all have experienced that through different platforms, right? I can click get in touch. If I click get in touch, I'm going to be on hold for a while, unfortunately. So that's why I tell you to go to your Market Center Tech Trainer first. Because what happens with chat, okay, is most agents will go there looking for help. Chat is really meant to be a support to actually if something's broken. Most agents use chat for training, and it bogs down chat because the people that are monitoring that have to respond to everybody. So you may find yourself in the middle of the day, you might be 30 minutes behind. So that's why I always tell you, if you're really having an issue, go to your Market Center Tech Trainer first because they're trained to deal with you guys and help you versus going through chat. So use chat as a last resource, but your Market Center Tech Trainer should be your first resource. And then the last one actually says post an idea. Do you remember when I talked about ideas.kw.com earlier? That's where this takes you. Look, ideas. So you can actually go in here and add a new idea and see what ideas people have been recommending. And in KW post statuses, like this one, it tells you, hey, this is planned. Like, so it'll tell you if you have ideas or there are other ideas that you want to vote up or recommend into the system. All right, so make sure I covered everything here for today. We'll get to that. So this is our training elements for the next 2 weeks, right? So today was orientation. Tomorrow we'll do contacts. Wednesday, smart plans. Thursday, opportunities. Next week, we'll go into consumers, designs, campaigns, and referrals. Okay, so that's our next 2 weeks. There'll be different Market Center tech trainers. I am handling contacts, I believe, tomorrow, but you'll also meet some of the other team members as they take us through certain elements of training. Any questions for anything that we covered today? I'm running 2 minutes behind. I'm sorry.
I'm interested in learning this week a little bit more about, was it DocuSign versus I was using .loop with my team. So I've got to get myself so I can get to the documents.
So we won't be covering DocuSign through this. That's usually handled at the Market Center level because not every Market Center does DocuSign. So right now I don't have anything on the calendar. So what you want to do is talk to your Market Center tech trainer, and they will certainly get you trained if that's something you're utilizing in your system. And if by chance you're struggling connecting with somebody, reach out to me. My email is daviddonaldson@kw.com, and
Okay.
I can point you in the right direction to get what you need.
Marcia, it's super easy. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Trust me. David will attest to that.
No,
Okay, well, they were using .loop, and I like .loop, but I understand the change.
yeah, I love .loop too. I've been to their corporate headquarters. They're a great platform. Here's the funny thing. When we moved to .loop, we moved from DocuSign. And there was a lot of upset people. Now we're going from .loop back to DocuSign, and people are upset a little bit. It's just change. I get it. But there's very real reasons why we did what we had to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get you trained. And that typically happens at your Market Center.
Thank you,
Anybody
David.
else? Absolutely, Terry. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Everybody else have any other questions? If not, we'll see you at 10 o'clock. Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
It's great to see you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.